I think we actually might have just seen the worst call in the entire history of sport. And like, this is a shock that it is actually not DiJonai Carrington committing a flagrant foul. DiJonai Carrington got flagrantly fouled.
Did we just witness the single worst call in the history of professional sports? Or was it something even bigger, a moment where karma finally caught up with the WNBA's most controversial player? Because what happened to DiJonai Carrington in the Dallas Wings versus Golden State Valkyries game wasn't just a blown whistle. It was a turning point, not just for her, but for the entire league.
DiJonai, DiJonai, you're always in a dirty play. DiJonai, DiJonai, once again, here we are today. Oh, DiJonai, DiJonai.
And if you've been following the WNBA this season, you know this wasn't just another night on the court. This was the night the league's most notorious reputation finally came back to bite. Let's rewind for a second. For months, DiJonai Carrington has been the name on everyone's lips, and not for the right reasons. She's become the league's ultimate villain, the player fans love to hate, the one who seems to thrive on chaos. Every week, it seemed like she was at the center of another incident. A hard foul here, a heated altercation there, and of course, the infamous eye poke that left Caitlyn Clark seeing stars. The league's response? Silence. No fines, no suspensions, just a growing sense that Carrington was untouchable. And with every game, her reputation as the WNBA's resident enforcer only grew. But reputations have a way of catching up with you. And in one of the most high-stakes games of the season, with Dallas fighting for their playoff lives, Carrington found herself in the middle of chaos once again. The clock was winding down, the score was tight, and every possession mattered. Janelle Saloon launched a deep shot that clanged off the rim, sending the ball bouncing toward the sideline. Carrington, always the hustler, sprinted after it, making the smart play to let it roll out of bounds. She was just shielding the ball, doing exactly what any veteran would do in that situation. Then, out of nowhere, Tiffany Hayes came barreling down the court like a runaway train. She slammed into Carrington from behind, sending both players crashing to the floor. It was the kind of collision that makes you wince, the kind that should have been an obvious foul on Hayes. But when the whistle blew, the refs pointed at Carrington. The disbelief was instant. Even fans who couldn't stand her were left speechless. Was this real? Had the officials just called a foul on the player who got flattened? Social media exploded. But instead of the usual outrage over a terrible call, something strange happened. The internet didn't rush to Carrington's defense. There were no hashtags demanding justice, no analysts breaking down the replay in her favor. Instead, the reaction was pure, unfiltered satisfaction. Finally, that's karma catching up with her. Now she knows what Caitlyn's been dealing with all season. The message was clear. Carrington had spent months dishing it out, and now she was finally getting a taste of her own medicine. And it wasn't just this one play. Carrington's highlight reel from the past year reads like a rap sheet. The eye poke on Caitlyn Clark that went viral, the hard smack to Skylar Diggins, Smith's head, the reckless closeout that left Gabby Williams limping off the court. Each time, the league looked the other way. Each time, fans grew more frustrated. The narrative was set Carrington was the league's dirtiest player, and the WNBA wasn't interested in holding her accountable. So when the refs finally turned their infamous incompetence in her direction, nobody was surprised. What was surprising was how little sympathy she got. Normally, when a player gets hosed by the officials, the basketball world rallies behind them. But for Carrington, there was only applause. Her reputation had come full circle, and now she was reaping what she'd sown. The consequences were immediate. Dallas lost a critical possession in a must-win game, and the Valkyries capitalized, pulling away to seal the victory. But the real story wasn't the final score. It was the moment when Carrington, for once, was the victim, and nobody cared. Even her own fans were silent. The league's most notorious instigator had finally run out of goodwill. And the irony didn't stop there. As the dust settled, fans started listing off all the times Carrington had escaped punishment. The Lynx incident, where she took... And oh, how quickly the tables turned.
So the ball gets swung, Janelle Saloon shoots the ball. It's coming out, it's coming out, it's coming out. So, DiJonai Carrington is just shielding the ball out of bounds. She's just shielding the ball out of bounds, as you do. And Tiffany Hayes tackles her to the ground. Tackles her to the ground.
With less than 2 minutes to go and Dallas trailing by 3, Janelle Saloon
Does
launched...
not look nor play like she's 35. Okay, she be bringing it to them girls each and every night. She got that, acting like that face harness, okay, like to protect her face, her eyes, her nose, whatever that is. She be look like a dominatrix to me. I'd be like, bro, who is that? She looks like it's giving Scarecrow or like a Black Raven vibe, okay, like a hawk. And she looks like a bird of prey, okay, and that's how she plays. She plays like a bird of prey, while the other girls in the court are just worms to her. Okay, they are bird food because she be cooking and eating everybody and was able to draw a foul. I'm like, what is this? I mean, she almost deleted freaking DiJonai. I thought I was really gravely concerned for DiJonai Carrington's life and health. I'm like, did y'all not just see Tiffany Hayes just throw her body up against her and slam her to the ground? This is crazy. Literally slammed her. DiJonai Carrington got pushed into a freaking old white man's lap because of Tiffany Hayes jumping on her like she ain't got no sense.
Launched a deep shot that missed, setting off a chaotic chase for the rebound. Carrington hustled toward the loose ball, but made the smart decision to let it roll out of bounds to give her team possession. It was a savvy move, the kind of heads-up basketball you'd expect from a vet. But then all hell broke loose. Tiffany Hayes, barreling down the court like a freight train, rammed full speed into Carrington from behind. Both hit the floor hard. It looked like a textbook foul on Hayes, reckless, uncontrolled contact from behind. Star rookie, poked in the face during a heated game, left to deal with it on her own. And what did Clark do? She took the high road. She didn't complain. She didn't escalate. She defended Carrington's intent and kept her focus on the game. That's why Clark has become the WNBA's ultimate fan favorite, not just because of her 24. That was the origin of this storm. It was one of the ugliest plays of the year, and what made it worse was the league's silence. No flagrant, no fine, no statement. Just a super looms large over all of this. You can't talk about Carrington's downfall without bringing up the moment that started it all. The infamous eye poke back in September 2020.
Skylar's going down for a fast break layup. DiJonai winds up and smacks her across the head, and Skylar is on the ground having a hard time getting up. But this was something where people are saying, okay, DiJonai, this is happening a little bit too much for my liking. These hard fouls, these reckless plays are happening a little bit too much. And I want to show you guys one more play that was also in that game that actually injured Gabby Williams. Now, if you watch here, Gabby Williams is going up for a little mid-range jumper. DiJonai jumps to try to block her, and she comes down to where Gabby Williams doesn't have enough landing space. So she lands in her landing space, and then Gabby Williams rolls her ankle.
The altercation with Skylar Diggins-Smith, the run-in with the LA Sparks. The list went on and on. Each incident was another brick in the wall of resentment that had built up around her. And now, with one blown call, that wall came crashing down. But this wasn't just about Carrington. It was a wake-up call for the entire WNBA. If a playoff race can be decided by a call this bad, how can fans trust the outcome of any game? The league's credibility is hanging by a thread, and moments like this only make it worse. When fans are more entertained by a player's misfortune than outraged by a referee's mistake, you know something deeper is broken. And then there's the Caitlyn Clark factor. You can't talk about Carrington's downfall without mentioning the moment that started it all, the eye poke seen around the world. Clark, the league's new superstar, took the hit and kept playing. She didn't complain, didn't escalate, just focused on the game. That's why she's become the WNBA's ultimate fan favorite. She built her reputation on poise and sportsmanship, while Carrington built hers on aggression and excuses. The contrast couldn't be clearer. So when Carrington finally got hit with a blatantly bad call, fans didn't see injustice. They saw balance. It didn't erase what happened to Clark, but it felt like the universe was finally evening the score. Carrington had to eat a phantom foul, just like Clark had to eat a no-call. If that's not poetic justice, what is? The timing couldn't have been more perfect. As Carrington's reputation took another hit, Clark continued to shine, leading the Indiana Fever with grace and next-level basketball IQ. One player is building a legacy, the other is burning bridges. And the league is watching, forced to confront the culture it's allowed to fester. Because this wasn't just about a single blown call. It was about a league at a crossroads. Fans are losing faith, not just in certain players, but in the WNBA's ability to enforce fairness. If karma becomes more satisfying than justice, you've got a trust problem that no highlight reel can fix. And what about Carrington? She's at a crossroads too. Her talent is undeniable. She didn't win, most improved by accident. But all that progress is being drowned out by the noise. When even your own supporters can't defend you during a clear-cut officiating blunder, you know it's time for a reality check. Her path forward has to start with accountability, not just for her actions, but for the reputation she's built. The league should take notes too. Officiating has to improve, discipline has to be consistent, and the trust gap with fans has to be closed, before moments like this become the norm instead of the exception. So, was this the worst call in sports history? Maybe. But it was also something more, a moment where the WNBA's most notorious player finally faced the consequences of her own reputation. And for fans who've been waiting for justice, it felt like the universe finally delivered. If you believe in instant karma, let us know in the comments. Is this the wake-up call the WNBA needs? Or is it just another sign that the league has lost control? Either way, one thing's for sure. The story of DiJonai Carrington isn't over, but after this, it'll never be the same. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter. And if you want more stories that pull back the curtain on the WNBA's wildest moments, click the video on your screen now. We'll see you there. But let's not stop there. To really understand how we got to this point, you have to look at the full arc of DiJonai Carrington's career and how the league's handling of her has become a case study in what happens when accountability is ignored. Carrington didn't start out as a villain. In fact, her early years in the league were marked by hustle, grit, and a relentless drive to prove herself. She was the kind of player coaches love: tough, physical, and unafraid to mix it up in the paint. But somewhere along the way, that edge turned into something darker. The hard fouls became more frequent. The trash talk got nastier, and the incidents started piling up. The first real warning sign came during a heated matchup with the Minnesota Lynx. Carrington, frustrated after a missed call, lashed out and sent Ariel Atkins sprawling to the floor. The replay was damning an elbow thrown with clear intent. Fans were outraged, but the league's response was muted. A flagrant foul was assessed, but it was quietly downgraded after the game. No suspension, no fine, just a slap on the wrist. It was the beginning of a pattern that would define Carrington's career. Next came the infamous eye poke on Caitlyn Clark. It was a nationally televised game with millions watching as Carrington jabbed a finger into Clark's face during a scramble for a loose ball. Clark went down hard, clutching her eye, but the refs missed it. The league reviewed the play, but once again, no action was taken. The message was clear. Carrington could get away with almost anything. And she did. Over the next few months, Carrington racked up a laundry list of questionable plays. A hard smack to Skylar Diggins, Smith's head during a fast break, a reckless closeout that left Gabby Williams limping off the court, a post-game altercation with the LA Sparks that nearly turned into a brawl. Each time, the league looked the other way. Each time, fans grew more frustrated. Social media became a battleground. Clips of Carrington's antics went viral, with fans and analysts alike calling for the league to step in. But the WNBA's disciplinary system seemed broken. Flagrant fouls were downgraded. Suspensions were avoided. And Carrington, emboldened by the lack of consequences, only got bolder. It wasn't just the fans who noticed. Players around the league started speaking out too. Anonymous quotes began circulating, players saying they felt unsafe on the court, that Carrington was a ticking time bomb who could seriously injure someone if left unchecked. Coaches quietly lobbied the league office for stricter enforcement, but nothing changed. All of this set the stage for the Dallas Wings versus Golden State Valkyries game, a game that would become a microcosm of everything wrong with the WNBA's approach to discipline and accountability. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Dallas was clinging to playoff hopes, needing every win to stay alive. Golden State was looking to play spoiler, with nothing to lose and everything to gain by knocking off a contender. The atmosphere was electric, the tension palpable. From the opening tip, it was clear this was going to be a physical game. Carrington was in the middle of everything, diving for loose balls, setting hard screens, jawing with opponents. The refs let a lot go, as they often do in high-stakes games. But as the clock wound down and the pressure mounted, the officiating started to unravel. The play that changed everything came with less than 2 minutes to go. Janelle Saloon launched a deep three that missed badly, sending the ball ricocheting toward the sideline. Carrington, always quick to react, sprinted after it, positioning herself between the ball and the nearest defender. She was just doing her job, shielding the ball, waiting for it to go out of bounds. But Tiffany Hayes had other ideas. She came flying in from behind, crashing into Carrington with enough force to send both players sprawling. It was a textbook, foul, reckless, uncontrolled, and dangerous. The kind of play that gets called every time, except this time, it didn't. The refs blew the whistle, and to everyone's shock, they pointed at Carrington. The crowd erupted in disbelief. Even the Golden State fans, who stood to benefit from the call, looked uncomfortable. The Dallas bench was livid, with coaches and players screaming for an explanation. But the officials stood by their decision. The fallout was immediate. Dallas lost possession, Golden State scored on the ensuing play, and the momentum swung decisively in the Valkyries' favor. The Wings never recovered, and their playoff hopes took a major hit. But the real story was playing out online. As clips of the play circulated on social media, the reaction was swift and brutal. Instead of sympathy for Carrington, there was celebration. Fans who had spent months watching her get away with dirty plays saw this as poetic justice. Finally, the refs are holding her accountable. Now she knows what it feels like. The comments were relentless. Even analysts who usually defend players in these situations were silent. The consensus was clear. Carrington had brought this on herself. Her reputation had become so toxic that even a blatantly bad call couldn't generate any goodwill. And that's the real tragedy of this story. In any other situation, a call this bad would have sparked outrage. Fans would have demanded accountability from the officials. The league would have issued a statement, promising to review the play and ensure it never happened again. But because it was Carrington, nobody cared. In fact, most people were happy to see her finally get a taste of her own medicine. This is what happens when a player's reputation becomes bigger than the game itself. Carrington's history of dirty play, combined with the league's refusal to hold her accountable, created a perfect storm. When the storm finally hit, there was no one left to defend her. But the implications go far beyond one player. The WNBA now finds itself at a crossroads. If fans can't trust the officiating, if they believe that outcomes are being decided by reputation instead of performance, the league's credibility is at risk. And if the league continues to ignore bad behavior, it sends a message that anything goes as long as you're good enough to get away with it. The contrast with Caitlyn Clark couldn't be starker. Clark has faced her own share of hard fouls and questionable calls, but she's handled it with grace and composure. She's become the face of the league not just because of her talent, but because of the way she carries herself. When she was poked in the eye by Carrington, she didn't lash out or demand retribution. She just kept playing, earning the respect of fans and players alike. Carrington, on the other hand, has responded to criticism with defiance. She's taken to social media to defend her actions, insisting that she's just playing hard and that the dirty player label is unfair. But the evidence keeps piling up, and the court of public opinion has already rendered its verdict. So where does Carrington go from here? The path forward won't be easy. She'll need to rebuild her reputation from the ground up, starting with accountability and a commitment to playing the game the right way. The league, too, has some soul-searching to do. If it wants to be taken seriously, it needs to enforce its rules consistently, regardless of a player's status or reputation. The lesson here is simple. Actions have consequences. For too long, Carrington was allowed to skate by without facing any, but eventually, the bill comes due. And when it does, it's not just the player who pays the price, it's the entire league. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. The WNBA can't afford to let moments like this define its future. The fans deserve better, the players deserve better, and the game itself deserves better. If you agree, let us know in the comments. Is this the wake-up call the league needs? Or is it just another sign that the WNBA has lost its way? Either way, the story of DiJonai Carrington is far from over. But after this, it'll never be the same. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next.